Did you guys know that Adam Sandler is Jewish?
Yes,
That's
he's very,
the
very
first
obvious.
thing I read on Wikipedia.
I have absolutely no idea what really to say about this movie because it was like I thought it was okay. Like like grindhouse and art house films, they're all well and good. Some of them are do catch my fancy just because they're weird enough for like me to still be able to enjoy, but like not too far off the deep end where I'm just like, oh, like this is one of these movies. But like really, all it boils down to is it's a movie about family and about family values, and it's a movie about white people killing brown people for the sake of killing brown people.
I've been recording for like the last 5 minutes, and probably needs a chunk of this because we're kind of already talking about the movie. But we're not in the review yet. We're still waiting for Cody. We're not in it. Calm yourselves. Don't say anything incriminating because then I might use that.
I've talked about how I needed to take a shit pretty badly.
You have like these people. You could tell they have like I don't want to say tribal, but this old like village etiquette. The way they
say tribal.
It's familial, more rather than tribal. It's familial. Like everybody within the whole city, town. What would you even call that?
It's a village.
It's a village. So within this village, they all treat each other like their family. Like they worry about each other genuinely because it's like it's as if you were worrying about your brother or worrying about your sister.
It's about resistance and the strength of togetherness in the face of adversity. Like it's not. I wouldn't even say it's about like brown people or this or that. It's like there's been like a very rich, horrific history in like South America of slavery. We usually know about like America's slavery. But there was a fuck ton of it happening around the Caribbean and like Brazil and shit. Oh, yeah. And there's so much resistance movements that were born off of that. I mean, even reggae as a music genre, I used to fucking hate reggae. And then the more I read about its historic context, and I was like listening to what like people from those areas call real reggae, I was like, this is fucking dope.
I love the Cops soundtrack, dude. Bad boys, what you want? What you won't do.
It's a Western where the Indians are cowboys and the cowboys are Indians. Like the bad guys in this movie, like it's straight up. They said Americans always make our characters, us foreigners, these fucking one-dimensional like people. We're going to do that to these villains. These Americans are one-dimensional. They're gun-toting this the way like we view them. I was like telling Cody, because he's all, the villains don't have enough depth. I was like,
they don't.
That's the fucking point.
Yeah.
That's
you give me a lot of credit there, friend, but you know more than me, so I will give you.
That's actually quoted from the director. But I was telling people like, but first, like furthermost, it is an art house film. It's gonna feel weird at first. The thing about like art house, it's kind of like going to see an impressionist painting or like a Jackson Pollock painting or some shit. You're using your logic now or what you think you know about regular movies and regular like story structure, like saying, oh, a movie needs to have this, a climax, and then the conclusion. Like sometimes when it comes to shit like this, that's gone.
Who doesn't have a funeral where somebody just gets too drunk and starts talking shit? You know what I mean? That's normal. Like I can enjoy it for the art house part of it. The only thing with me like is like so I have really low standards with movies. So like art house isn't bad for me. Like I have set my expectations low when it comes to movies. It didn't get me invested in everybody in the show. Like that was my only concern with it. It's just as things progressed and it's like we had little depth or little to no depth for the antagonists, which were the Americans. Like I felt like the depth that was given to the village wasn't necessarily as strong either, because we essentially have like Teresa in the first 5 minutes, we see her essentially straight up engaging and saying, hey, let's sleep together tonight. Like and it's like, hey, aren't you mourning? It's fine.
Nah,
you know what I mean? It's like, and it's like you see throughout the show that it's just such a normal thing to have this shameless attitude, which it is kind of like it does kind of resemble a family and like, hey, this is us, this is who we are, we accept it, and I love you.
It definitely showcases like the way their culture like handles things and their belief systems. You know,
it was like family facing an intruder, and that's what it really was. Like the whole family is different and is argumentative and is hateful as everybody was. Like the main character, what's her name? Sonia Braga. She was just like, hey, I need everybody to be normal and be this when she's drunk, but when she's not drunk, she's like, I get it. I understand. You're horny. Go ahead. You know, this is not my non-spoiler overall consensus.
I'm recording all this, is keeping this. Probably staying. This might even just be a regular video at this point, just not stream. Like
honestly,
we're in 20 minutes at this point.
Woo! But holy shit! Why do you guys keep showing me?
Yeah, no,
with,
I
with
was
all
like,
these dicks, man. Like, God, there was so much like tit just hanging out, and I was like, bro, what?
look, that was not my intention. Okay, speaking of
It's
movies,
art house. You should have known. You said yourself in the last video. You want to be art house, you gotta show some dong.
look,
I was messaging Izzy. I was like,
yeah, he's just like, it's an Eddie movie 20 minutes in.
At first, I was all like, "All right, I'm gonna try to give this a pass because it's it's a brother dong, like it's fine. Like we'll get some brown dong representation up on the screen, it's all good. We fucking got this. And then holy shit, man, like
Casual watering flower dong, dude. Very casual dong.
But you know what, like
10 minutes.
you know what? I will give this movie one thing. Like unlike the other movies that we've seen with just the like the dong right in your face, this was a little more tasteful. It was very casual. It was just like there's people taking a bath. People walking around.
Very tasteful, very tasteful. Nothing like shooting someone's face off with your dick out. That's what I call class.
Look, he was in his own house,
Fair
he
enough.
Do what he wants.
Fair enough.
Well, this goes back to the dong talk. So I watched this movie that it's supposed to be like, Argento was like Giallo style film, like old Italian, like crime, like murder mystery. I guess it's like what that is. So this is like a modern one. And it's about this lady who directs gay porn, and all of her gay porn stars are starting to get murdered off. And it's very, very stylistically, like 80s Giallo inspired. And surprising, I think it was Heart plus Knife or Knife plus Heart. It's one of those orders. I was gonna say, Eddie, surprisingly, for a movie full of gay sex, there were no dicks. So that's a safe one for you.
Speaking of early on. Welcome to the Real Stupid Review Show with Cody. I've been recording for like the last 30 minutes. Yeah, like unofficially just recording.
Talking about Adam Sandler and why he's Jewish.
Yeah,
I mean,
that.
Why he's Jewish?
Why he's Jewish?
Today I learned that Adam Sandler is Jewish.
I swear he says that in like a lot of his movies.
The Omicron, like 30% of them at least. Long drawn out dick. Like it was a long.
That was. But it was a casual
dick.
It was a very casual dick.
It was a real casual dick, just dick flopping around in the breeze, just catching some air.
It wasn't gratuitous. It was just
It was voluntary.
Yeah.
It was just a guy being a dude,
I totally see your dog in the background, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh god! Oh, surprise dog!
The guy sitting there or something. I was like, "Dude, you have somebody just."
Oh, there he's got. This is the real quick review, maybe regular review. I don't know. We've been talking for about like almost 30 to 40 minutes at this point, but we're gonna act like that didn't happen. We are doing the film. I'm gonna mispronounce this.
Bacurau.
I want to say Barbacoa. Barbacoa. Bacurau. Bacurau.
Bacurau is very much a grindhouse meets art house like film. It is also a psychedelic Western without actually having like an obvious Western setting. I want to mention a bit that it is rooted in like a lot of Brazilian like politics. One of the biggest obvious ones is the like coup d'etat of 1964 that America was involved in. And like you have all of this like really cool information that you could end up going into, but you don't have to like know. Very like great homage to a lot of like classic films. And for any of you movie buffs out there that are like watching this, if you have a love of all of those like films that I was like mentioning, you are going to find a lot of like things to dissect here. For any of you history people out there, you're going to have a great time like understanding where all of this pent up rage and aggression like comes from, and like why certain aspects of the film might be exaggerated as a kind of like, what's it called? Big fuck you to the way their country is also portrayed in American movies as well. Do we give our star rating here or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've been caught. between 2 ratings, so I'm just going to give it a 4 for now. I think it offers a lot to the film fan, a film historian, a film, I don't want to say technician because I don't know what that's a fucking thing when it comes to movies, but it offers a lot to that. It offers a lot to people that enjoy like art house and grindhouse, and also it gives a chance for like a Brazil to fucking throw out a Western out here and get all this national like recognition everywhere.
Well said. Very eloquent. Almost like you said it like twice because like we've been going for 30 minutes.
Well, I did so right.
Good.
I did right
it's so good. I want to hear it 3-4 more times. So let's do it again, Izzy, from the top. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Adam Sandler is Jewish.
I'm less smart than you, sir. So I will go next. So we get sandwich. We get good thing, and then bad thing, and then good thing. Just like the YMCA taught me. But Bacurau, it's a very, very interesting movie. It's about everything that happens when you mix those two things, and with now understanding that it's within the scope of this very angry political affair. Other than that, man, like the movie was weird. There was a lot of stuff that I had to really delve into more. Things that Izzy talked to me about today that really opened my eyes to a little bit more depth, a little bit more perspective. Would I recommend that? Sure. If you like movies like this, if you like art house and grindhouse movies, I personally don't know what those are. They're essentially just words that have some type of meaning in them. Exactly, Gerardo. And as you aptly noted, there were quite a few dicks in this movie. But I found this. The amount of dicks that were in this movie were a little bit more tasteful than some of the other movies that we were seeing. Homeboy, he was just walking around, dong out, watering his fucking plants, man. Like, and that's all that I'm gonna say about that because we're not spoiling anything. But 3.5 out of 5 for me.
Watering his plants with what? Ooh, find out. You have to watch the movie.
I'll make a quick consensus of what it's about. A story of a small town in Brazil fighting for its place on the map, literally. The movie follows Teresa coming home from an unfortunate death of her grandmother, and as she's in her new town of Bacurau, the nature of her shameless town is unfolded. She finds herself in the middle of a war against hired guns that threaten her hometown. That's my quick consensus. Here's my overall review. You really don't need to bother with this movie. I love Udo Kier in the movie, but he really doesn't make it a good film. I loved him in like the Puppet Master and the Blade series. This film was slow and played off like an old Western at the pitch of good versus evil, which based off of the other reviews, it feels like that's consensus, but a lot more deep. Objectively good, but not my taste, despite eerie music, roadkill, gratuitous coffins, reckless shooting, snakebite references, Carlos Santana look-alike, prostitution, panhandling, ghost towns, UFO, fucking in front of a UFO, overdose, overdressed tourists, mullets, drugs, guns, trapdoors, buried secrets, cheap CGI, deadly flashlight tag, great headshots, and a jackass riding a jackass. 2 stars.
So I'm going to read my review. Bacurau takes place in a grim yet familiar future. Its opening scenes set up an era of oppression but solidarity among the people of Bacurau. It's a world of warfare, of murder, of smuggling, and of the cowgirl position being the only known sexual position remaining in the world.
The only one that
these elements start off on a strong note, but when the actual plotline and antagonists are revealed, we take what I consider a strong turn for the worse. The rest of the movie is a bit of a mess. The first 30 or so minutes set up this compelling village, its people, its culture, and all of that in a way that had me very excited and very invested to continue watching and learn more. I was invested in their turmoil and their struggles. And I thought that like this various secrets and things of their past were enticing and they were very well presented. But once the main story of these English-speaking people, these assassins, presents itself and you have this era of like them having to defend themselves from an outside attack, starts to sort of unravel, the entire style and emotion evaporates like a teardrop in the sun. The English-speaking characters were unconvincingly written and performed. We completely lose track of the main characters, and all of their buildup is seemingly lost or forgotten as the final act evolves into a mess of tell, don't show filmmaking. They start off with a brilliant concept and a very strong first act that gets me invested in the characters, but they fail to follow up the energy and momentum that they start with And I think this is another example of that. I want to be left wanting more when the credits roll, and this left me wanting less. I think it can be safely skipped. 2 out of 5.
All right, this is
Latte's
like
a literal drink.
Oh my god, the unprofessionalism! I'm gonna kill myself. This is like receiving macaroni art, but they use your expensive imported Italian pasta, and the macaroni art sucks ass. This had me intrigued for the first half when I still was under the impression it was going to be a good movie. We're going around the town and seeing all different people, the doctor, the local prostitute, the fat DJ, the old kooky guitar guy, aka future IZZY. It still never really amounted to anything. And same goes for the villains. The two dirt bikers held my interest for most of the time they were on screen, just for their unexpected look and attitude and personality. But unfortunately, we ended up with the cardboard r/Donald keyboard Nazis whose character development was basically them being horny for their guns and killing minorities. Once the third act kicked in and we were deep in the shit, I never really felt anything because none of the main characters were really properly invested in. This didn't need to be super deep. I would have been okay with just a genre Brazilian Western, but they kind of had to cut out some of the fat and just maybe stick with more of the action. There were still some redeeming qualities that were pretty cool. The blood and gore effects were top notch. The old like wipe cuts and crosses off transitions were pretty fun. The vibrant and clean photography was beautiful. Maybe a bit too many lens flares every now and then, but overall I think it's a very gorgeous film. I don't think it's offensively bad. I think part of my frustration comes from seeing the grains of greatness that could have been only tend up just kind of like, So I don't hate it, but I wish I liked it more. This is kind of like the same vibe I had with like First Love, where I was like, this could have been really, really good, but it just didn't really hit for me. And that means it's a 3 out of 5, which is still, it's a real good. Fun fact,
guys,
Bear
I
Jew
like this.
is supposed to be Adam Sandler, who is Jewish. Did you guys know that? Adam Sandler is Jewish. Whoa, did you guys also know that this real quick review has now gone 1 hour and 14 minutes, so it's been real quickly, not quick, long.
We should probably end this real quick.
See you guys real soon.
At this point,
Wait, no.
He'll pop it up.
Before we actually go, because I forgot to do it at the beginning of the show.
It's too damn late.
Fascinating.
What is your IHOP order?
Ooh.
I don't go to IHOP. I haven't been to IHOP.
Dude, we've been shut down for over a year. Like you're asking.
Last time I went to IHOP, I went with IZZY at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
I was like, please, I want to sleep.
Anything with hash browns. And we'll see you guys real soon.
Nice.
Bye.
Don't get uncomfortable. I just don't want to see. Don't want to see Dick 24/7 as I'm watching a movie, man.
You've
Like,
been the only one to bring it up every time. I think maybe Gerardo's brought it up before once.
Gerardo doesn't like old man bodies. That was
Yes, that's my thing. Listen,
That makes more sense.
fertile young boy. Nah, not young